Welcome, everyone. In this explainer, we are going to pull back the curtain on a tool that's really at the very heart of almost every major company you can think of. It's called an ERP, and it's the ultimate business connector. All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start with the big puzzle that modern businesses are trying to solve. Then we'll introduce the solution, that ERP. After that, we'll see how it actually works in the real world, what it all means for your future career. And finally, we'll get into the real power of having a single source of truth. Okay, so first things first, let's just set the stage a bit. I want you to think about how incredibly complex a modern company really is. You've got your finance department, sales, HR, manufacturing, shipping, all of these different parts, all trying to work together as one. I mean, it sounds basically impossible, right? How does the sales team have any idea what the warehouse actually has in stock? How does the finance department know when to send a bill after something's been delivered? This right here is the wall that pretty much every growing business eventually smacks right into. And this really says it all. You know, when every single department is using its own software, it's not just confusing, it becomes a massive drain on company resources. Data gets trapped in these little silos, business processes just don't line up, and your IT team, they're stuck just trying to keep the lights on instead of pushing the company forward. So what's the answer to this chaotic puzzle? Well, let's bring in the hero of our story, the ERP system, and that stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. The best way to think of an ERP is like the central nervous system of a company. It's a single, shared brain that connects every single department. So finance, HR, sales, the warehouse, they all plug into this one system. They're all using the same data, they're all speaking the same language. So why make the switch? Well, usually, companies turn to an ERP when their old ways of doing things just aren't cutting it anymore. You know, those disconnected tools just can't keep up with their ambitions, whether that means expanding globally, launching new products, or just finally escaping the chaos of having data all over the place. And this is the bottom line right here. This isn't just about being tidy and organized, it's about gaining a real, measurable advantage. When you have perfect visibility across the entire company, you can start to reduce waste, slash costs, and build a seriously powerful competitive edge. But what does this integration actually look like day to day? Let's follow the data through a couple of really common business processes to see it in action. You know, the last time you ordered something online, you started a chain reaction just like this. Now, can you imagine if this was all done manually? Sales would have to email the warehouse might see it an hour later, then they'd have to email finance, it would be a total mess. But in a company with an ERP, it's seamless. The second you click buy, the system instantly checks the inventory, it pings the warehouse to pack and ship your order, and it tells the finance team to create the invoice. No delays, no clunky spreadsheets, just one smooth automated flow. This is another brilliant example of how ERPs manage things over the long haul. Without one, tracking a big, expensive piece of machinery would be a nightmare. You'd have spreadsheets in finance, maintenance logs on a clipboard somewhere, and purchasing records stuck in a filing cabinet. Getting the full picture would be nearly impossible. But with an ERP, it's all one continuous story, all in one place. It tracks that machine from the moment it's just an idea, through its purchase, its entire life of maintenance and repairs, all the way until it's finally retired and taken off the books. Okay, now for you as students, this is where things get really, really interesting because these massive business-critical systems create some incredible career opportunities. Let's talk about what this means for your future. The reality is, it doesn't matter what field you're planning to go into, finance, logistics, marketing, HR, you will almost certainly interact with an ERP system. You might be an end user, someone who uses it every day. You could be a consultant who helps companies install them. Or you could become something really special, a super user. So to really understand the most valuable roles, we need to talk about two types of knowledge. On the left, you've got explicit knowledge. That's the stuff you can write down in a manual, like here's how to run a report. But on the right, you've got tacit knowledge. That's the wisdom you can't write down. It's the intuition, the experience. It's knowing why that report matters and what to do when the numbers just don't look right. And that is what makes a super user so incredibly valuable. See, they don't just know what buttons to push in the software, they understand why the business works the way it does. They are that crucial bridge between the technology and the actual people using it. That makes them the go-to problem solvers, the trainers, the innovators. Honestly, this is an absolutely fantastic career path to aim for. All right, let's zoom back out for our final point and look at the ultimate payoff of having one single integrated system, and that is creating a single source of truth.
Because an ERP system is where all the business action happens, it's the perfect engine to feed a central data warehouse. So think of it this way. The ERP is the system that runs the business day to day, while the data warehouse is the system that lets you analyze the business over time. By pulling all that data together, for the first time ever, everyone in the company is looking at the exact same numbers, the exact same reality. There's only one version of the truth.
And look, we're not talking about a simple spreadsheet here. This is big data. The ERP is built to handle the massive volume of transactions, the incredible velocity of information coming in real time, and the wide variety of data, from sales to manufacturing to finance. It doesn't just manage this flood of information, it turns it into a strategic asset. And really, this is what it all comes down to. ERP systems are so much more than just software. They're decision-making engines. They take all that business chaos and turn it into a single, unified source of data. And that empowers the next generation of leaders, people just like you, to see the whole picture, to ask bigger questions, and to make smarter, faster decisions. So the only question left is, what are you going to do with that power?